Recording in
Amitabha. Amitabha. Hello everyone. Today's MC is Dharma Instructor Lian Rifei. We welcome all Dharma propagators and all Padma Kumaras from all around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome everyone online today. And let us have one of the golden words by our Grandmaster Living Buddha Lian. So as we live each day, we should remain joyful. As we live each day, we should be grateful. As we live each day, we should cultivate every day as well. So Grandmaster also mentioned that a true practitioner in the face of anything in life, we should remain steady and not be affected by any obstacles that come in our way. And now let's interact and say hello to everyone who's online right now. We're still waiting for our lecturer, Master Lian Yi, to join us. We'd like to thank our interpreters for today. Over at the English channel, we have DA, Lianhua, Lotus Singrong, and also over at the Indonesian language channel, we have Dharma Instructor, Lianhua Meili. So we can see who we have online right now. We have all our Dharma brothers and sisters, various Dharma propagators from all around the world. We have DIC May from Malaysia.
请大家可以看视频，可以让我们的教授我们的授课师呢跟大家进一步的认识。上一周
I would also like to invite everyone to turn on your camera so that our lecturer can interact with everyone. And last week, we actually talked about the Dharma instruments in Tantric Buddhism. We talked about the Vajra Doji, the Vajra bell, and also the chanting beads. what are some of their functions and also importance. In today's lesson, we will be focusing on establishing an author, specifically a Tantric author. So we can have a look at who is online right now. We will wait for our lecturer, Master Lian to join us online for today's class. For students of the online university, please be reminded to submit your report for the second chapter on the detailed exposition on the Tantric sadhanas. And for those who are keen to join the gathering, the student gathering, which will be held in Seattle, especially for those who are attending the ceremony, the autumn ceremony in Seattle in September, you can, the details have already been shared via the group chat. So if you'd like to register for your event, please remember to do so. Today's lesson will be learning about on the importance of establishing an author for Tantric practitioners. And at the end of the lesson, there will be a Q&A segment. So we welcome everyone here to actually share any views and also post any questions if you have any. Amitabha, we have our lecturer in already, Master Lian Yi. Today's class will likewise start at 8 p.m. You can also prepare some of your writing materials as you listen to the content of the class today. And it is now 8 p.m. Class is about to start. Now let's put our palms together and we pay homage to our root lineage guru, living Buddha Lian Sheng, lineage gurus of the true Buddha school. And we hope that Grandmaster will bless today's lesson. And now let's form the Padma Kumara Mudra and recite the Padma Kumara Heart Mantra 7 times. Om Guru Lian Sheng Siddhi Hum. 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 Welcome our lecturer, Master Lian Yi, with Honorable Chairman Master Chen Zhu, Education Director Master Lian He, PR Director Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, all Masters, Senior Reverends, Dharma instructors and assistants, fellow Dharma Kumaras from all around the world. Good day to everyone, and welcome to everyone who are on various platforms, including YouTube and Facebook. And today's lesson will be Chapter 3, Dharma Instruments and Author in Tantric Buddhism, specifically Lesson 2, Establishing an Author. Why is it important to establish an author? What are some key points in the establishment of an author? So what happens after you have established an author? What if you are unable to establish an author? Now let's welcome our lecturer, Master Lian to deliver today's class. And we are grateful for his deliverance. Firstly, let's put our palms together and be grateful to our root lineage guru, living Buddha Lian Sheng, our lineage gurus of True Buddha School, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Dharma protectors of the shrine. Honorable Chairman Master Chen Zhu, Education Director Master Lian He, PR Director Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, all Masters, Senior Reverends, Dharma Instructors, Dharma Assistants, fellow interpreters, counselors. Good day to everyone, Amitabha. And today we will continue to talk about the true Buddha Tantric Dharma. Today will be Chapter 3, Dharma, Instruments and Author in Tantric Buddhism, Lesson 2, Establishing an Author. So let's look at the recap. The Vajra bell represents wisdom, also represents non-emptiness. So apart from concentration, what does the Vajra Doji represent more significantly?
老钟可明师姐大家讲都是对。
It seems like everyone is correct.
是非有问题二
It's actually non-existence. So for disciples of True Buddha School, the basic Dharma instruments are Vajra bell, Vajra Doji, and what is the last instrument?
这个特别快大家都
everyone responded really quickly.
一定需要问题三
Question 3. What material of chanting beads can be used for all common practices?
对了就是菩提子菩提子
And the correct answer is actually the Bodhi seeds, which can be universally used for all common practices. And now let's move on to the preface. The main significance of establishing a tantric author is that practitioners can cultivate quietly in a purified chamber of the tantric author every day without any form of interference, and to cultivate the Dharma twice daily, minimally once. Being able to establish a tantric altar at home to worship the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and to cultivate the Dharma is most ideal. So there is a saying that Tantrana is wealthy, Zen is poverty, and convenience is the pure land practice.
所以就是不讲究这个坛城就是产品那么方便净方便就是净土净土宗就是方便所以在以前呢大家
So in ancient times,
还没
in
那为什么呢因为当时密教呢是只有皇帝和贵族才可以修的
before the prominence of Tantrana Buddhism, the practice itself was actually exclusive to the emperor and the noble people. So the general public, including the common people, were not permitted to study it. So it was a very exclusive practice. And later on, it was propagated among the people. Then when we all know that our Grandmaster, he actually disclosed Tantrana Buddhism to everybody. Because Tantrana Buddhism is very extraordinary, so it will be a pity not to let everyone know about it. So Grandmaster has been propagating it through various ways, including sharing it via his Dharma talks, in hopes of everyone being able to improve along the way. And Grandmaster has also mentioned that Tantrana Buddhism is also only taught to people of affinity. So when we practice Tantrana, one needs to have a rather solemn tantric altar. So it requires a lot of exquisite qualities, exquisite requirements for the altar itself. So recently, for the Zhixing Leichangsi in Malaysia, when they were ordering a number of Buddha statues, the tallest level of the shrine is actually 7 Buddhas, so each of which is like around 4.2 meters. The second level is 1.6 meters, and the third is 1.3 meters. So it actually required a lot of financial resources to be able to pull this off. Whereas for the Zen side, it actually refers to how there's the concept of being spiritually rich while living in a simple and humble life. So having wealth, so in Zen Buddhism, having wealth or material possessions is not necessary in pursuing the path of meditation. So for Zen practitioners themselves, whether is it in the mountains or by the water or just a hut by itself, they don't really mind the environment that they live in. They can just eat wild vegetables and fruits. They can just wear simple coarse clothing, but they still experience boundless joy in their practice of meditation. For those new to cultivation, sitting meditation and Dharma cultivation require a certain level of quietness. So when the various worship deities, they see the extraordinariness and solemnity, they will also feel joyful and happy to sit at the altar for a long time. And the establishment of an altar is beneficial to one's visualization during cultivation practice, and having an altar is equivalent to having a direction. So we know that visualization, chanting of the mantra and performing the mudra are key parts of practice in Tantrana Buddhism. So having an altar is beneficial to the visualization part. So in Tibet, there is a unique culture which is for the lamas to create sand mandalas. So this process actually takes several days or even longer to complete the construction. And these mandalas are really intricate. Sometimes it can even extend to up to 1 month just to make the sand mandala itself. So if you think about it, they spend a lot of effort to actually complete the sand mandala itself. But once the ceremony has concluded, they will actually destroy the mandala itself. So when you witness this, one might actually wonder like, oh, why did they destroy it immediately after the ceremony has concluded, since they spent so much effort? But this actually represents impermanence of the universe, symbolizing transience and also emptiness of all phenomena. And everything goes back to the void. So it also allows practitioners to be enlightened on this point and to remind them ultimately what is the main outcome and goal of our cultivation. And it also cultivates non-attachment. And it also cultivates a form of renunciation for practitioners in their own cultivation. Establishing a tantric altar, establishing an extraordinary and solemn tantric altar allows the practitioners to feel joyful, respectful, and to like Dharma cultivation. And in the process, one's blessing and wisdom also grow. So for tantric practitioners in our cultivation, this whole cultivation of blessing and also wisdom is really important. So for Tzu Chi, a lot of the volunteers, they focus on making offerings. This is actually the focus of their work. So there was once a volunteer who had a really sincere heart. Every week she would make a lot of pastries and bring them to orphanages to share with the children there. And sometimes she will even help to trim the orphans' hair. And one time she faced certain matters at home. She had an argument with her husband. And at that time she was questioning like why she could help so many people, but she couldn't help herself. And later on, there was a master from True Buddha School who came to the area to propagate Dharma, and she was introduced to the master, and as part of the consultation, she actually asked the question, and the master actually explained that that it's good that you have helped so many people, and your compassionate intentions are really commendable. But this is external merits and deeds. Yeah, these are external meritorious deeds, but it doesn't help to cultivate internal virtues along the way. So these external meritorious deeds can help to accumulate blessings, while internal virtues can cultivate wisdom. And you can also look at things in life via various perspectives. And with this understanding and with this wisdom, one would then be able to look beyond and not be too attached to certain matters in life. So it is important for us to cultivate, which is to eradicate any unwholesome thoughts and also focus on spiritual cultivation, and this will build internal virtues and cultivate wisdom. Living Buddha Lin Shen believes that the selection of a purified chamber is very important. The room should be one that is able to keep the auspicious energy gathered within it. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas should be enshrined on a solid wall as a backing, with the Tantric altar backed against that wall. And there should not be any windows or ventilation openings, and the lighting should be moderate level. So there should not be any windows, no form of ventilation. Everything should be enshrined on a solid wall as a backing. So purifying the altar. So before setting up the altar, apart from cleaning it thoroughly, there's a need to sprinkle water to purify the tantric chamber itself. It is required as the chamber might be previously used as a bedroom or workspace or study room or storage room. So it might contain some unwelcome spirits. So the basic requirement and work that we need to do is to clean it thoroughly, and the second part is to purify it. So the simplest way is to choose a day of elimination and use the great compassion Dharani water to sprinkle the room inside out. So why is there a need to pick a day of elimination? So essentially is to eliminate any unwholesomeness. So this is actually the best way. If you don't have the great compassion Dharani water, you can just have a cup of clean water and actually recite the great compassion mantra itself before using the water to sprinkle. So purification using the great compassion Dharani water helps to make the ghosts in the tantric chamber leave, and all demons and all kinds of spirits cannot exist in the tantric chamber. So in this way, the practitioner can cultivate the Dharma without fear in body and the mind, and there will not be any evil things that will disturb their mind because the chamber is purified. So while setting up the altar, the main deity in the central position should preferably be the principal deity that one cultivates in their daily practice. So this means that since the the principal deity practice is the main is the principal deity. And in the future, when one attains spiritual achievement, one will then directly become the principal deity. So the cultivation practice with the principal deity in the central position is also convenient for visualization.
像我们普陀堂呢，因为是普陀嘛，普陀堂就是普陀山是以观世音菩萨为主尊，所以当你进到普陀堂的时候呢，你一眼看到中央是师尊，上面主尊就是观世音菩萨，他的主尊就是观世音菩萨。那么我们
there's this普陀altar. So in terms of arrangement, we have living Buddha Lian Shen in the center, and then have Guan Yin Pusa over at the side. So as a general custom, when we enshrine Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, each horizontal level is based on an odd number of statues, like 1, 3, or 5. And in terms of the order of the enshrining arrangement, we have 1 level as the Buddhas, 2nd as the Bodhisattvas, 3rd as the Vajas, and 4th as other deities.
然后你比如说你神香呢，就是说你比如说有供奉第4天或者大梵天皇，那些都是属于天嘛，天神嘛。还有这个城隍尊神啊。
So if there are any heavenly beings that you would like to have as part of the altar, they are part of the same altar, but it should be of a different level.
如何分辨坛城左右大小？
So how to establish on the left and the right, which is actually higher order. So for the central principal deity is higher order on the right and lower order on the left. And if there are many enshrined statues, they can be arranged in 2 or even 3 or 5 levels. And in terms of enshrining, we can directly use the sculpture of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or a picture, or even a mantra wheel.
在不同的方向，你就看就不同。比如说你面对着坛城，那么当然是右方为大，那么左方为小。
So when we are looking at the altar itself, of course, on your right it is the higher order, and on your left is the lower order. But from the perspective of the deity, the left and right is then different. So typically we don't just say left or right. We actually look at the long 边 or the 弧边.
右手说法就是辅边，就是在莲花童子的右手方为小，所以左龙右辅，龙辅边。我们一讲龙辅边，就不用就大家都会明白了啊。这个是所以有时左右会混淆，不知道谁在哪个角度看。
So if we just say left or right, it might raise any form of confusion. So we will just follow which one is the long 边, which one is the 弧边.
就以观世音菩萨为密坛的主尊。
So the Buddha statues in the Tantric altar are mainly based on the principal deity of the practitioner. So if you actually practice the Guan Yin Dharma practice, then Guan Yin should be the main deity of the Tantric altar. So the Buddha statues, they can be carved in wood, clay, gold, or copper, or even made of paper, or they can also be featured as part of a visual where there's an assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
比如说我做坐像，我是莲花童子的坐像，我的左手边持莲印就是龙边，说法印右手边就是辅边，左龙边为大， 辅边为小。
So on the long 边 is actually a higher order. On the 弧边 is actually a lower order. So we can take that as a reference. So we should actually take that as a perspective. So the statue of the practitioner's Dharma lineage guru can be placed on the right or the left of the principal deity. There are no restrictions or taboos on this front. So we know in Seattle Grandmaster's principal deity, we have Golden Mother. So she'll be placed in the central position. So for true Buddha disciples, we should still have Grandmaster as the central position, because our Grandmaster is actually our root lineage guru. Without him, there won't be us. So this is also in remembrance of him and not forgetting our roots. And then other principal deities can then be placed either on the left or the right. And on the right of the altar, you can place sutras, and on the left, you can place pagodas and other forms of decorations to enhance the solemnity of the altar itself. So we put pagodas because they also represent Buddhas. So any form of decorations, they are mainly to enhance the solemnity of the altar, so they can be added. So in front of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we need to set up offerings. Usually we look at 5 offerings, 8 offerings. There are many types, including up to 37. And if we have 5 offerings, there are incense, flowers, light, tea, and fruits. And when there are 8, we look at from right to left. We have the conch shell, we have the fruits, fragrance, light, 3 pieces of unlighted sandalwood incense, 5 white flowers, which is picking up from the Nyingma sect, and we have soap water, which is water added with soap powder, and also boiled water. So when we look at the 5 offerings, so flowers actually flowers, whether is it real or not, both can be used. It can be white, red, yellow. 1 tree or 5 of them. And whenever you like to change, you can do so. It actually represents dana, which is offering. And secondly, we look at incense, and incense represents wisdom. So it can be a pagoda or it can be 3 incense sticks, and normally we don't have to lit them, but we can actually change on the birthdays of Buddhas or Bodhisattvas or any form of special occasions. We can change to a new one. The original one can remain within the
好一点的香，比如说沉香啊或者檀香。
Yeah, it can actually remain there.
比较
And you just change them during special occasions.
用油灯
And the light,
均可，油灯平时点燃。
light actually represents tolerance.
不点燃。那供佛单或节日点亮供佛。
So it can be lighted up on an ordinary day.
用白红黄色的均可。对不起啊，因为我看的不是很明显，它的字会比较小，所以稍微等一下。
It can be a white color, red color, or yellow color. Either three would work as well, and it represents tolerance.
用图像代表精进，用清水加少许的香末，或用纯香末不加清水。
And next will be on fragrance.
更换时可随意。
So you can just use a clean water and you add a few, you can add an adequate amount of the fragrance powder itself. Or it can be an oil-based kind of fragrance, and it can be changed anytime as one wishes. And this actually represents a form of enrichment. So for fruits as well, it's best to change daily. So if there are actually 8 of them, we will have the conch shell and we have the soap water as well as boiled water. So soap water actually should be changed every day. It actually represents like a form of a merits water, and it should be changed once daily. We just have a portion of clean water and you add soap powder, and it should be around 80% filled. And then for boiled water, similarly, it's like a form of a merits water and it should be changed once daily. It can be clean water or boiled water and also 80% filled. And the conch shell, it represents some form of good luck. And we can look at using a small version. And best to be white. So for the conch shell itself, so the opening, sometimes it can be facing upwards or facing downwards. So when we visualize the conch shell itself, if we visualize a lot of wealth like a gold, silver, and jewelry coming out from the conch shell's opening and allow everything to be awesome, then actually the opening should face upwards. So in terms of the position of the incense burner, after all offerings are arranged, the incense burner is placed. So the sequence is the mandala itself, then the offering, and then the incense burner. And next is when to change out the offerings. So every time we cultivate, the fruits need to be replaced. The light, be it using a lamp or candle, needs to be lighted. The soap water needs to be changed, and the boiled water needs to be changed. The incense in the incense burner needs to be lighted, and the number of incense sticks should follow an odd number, 1, 3, or 5 or more sticks. And for other offerings, it can be changed as and when we like.
那香炉就是要点香的，修法的时候也是以单数1、3、5支。
Yeah, so it should be in accordance to odd number. So remember to have some form of offerings before we cultivate all the time. Some people also arranged offerings in 2 rows. The upper row is dedicated to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and the lower row is dedicated to the purpose of visualizing oneself transforming into one's own principal deity.
那么下列这一排呢是供奉给自己的本尊，那自己观想本尊就是用来供养自己的本尊。
Yeah, so the lower row is mainly to make an offering to one's principal deity. And the arrangement of the altar can be grander for those with the ability to do so and simpler for those without the ability to do so. However, it is important to be solemn, so the necessary Dharma instruments must be complete. If there are any incomplete instruments, it is not in accordance with the Dharma. So for true Buddha practitioners, we need to have the 3 essential instruments, which are the Vajra Dorje, the Vajra bell, and also the chanting beads. And some people also put on the Dharma uniform itself. It also adds to the whole solemnity. And now we have reached the time where we'll have a little quiz. And we will now let the Lian share the screen for the quiz segment.
我们同样的，大家可以选择自己熟悉的这一个。
The usual rules, we can select our familiar language. So you can actually click into the link provided over at the chat box, or you can head over to Mentimeter. You can head over to menti.com and input the code based on the language that you prefer.
频道的代码，中文的有86。
So for Chinese language, the code is actually 869700045. For English is 31503581. And for the Indonesian channel, it would be 79228506. And now we'll give everyone some time to enter the website and also input the code.
30秒，那我们大概有剩下了大概1分钟，请大家抓紧时间点击或者是进入这个。
With just 1 minute before the start of the quiz.
一起欢乐来学习。
And later on, we'll have some fun as we learn along the way.
我们的这一个游戏有2个环节。
And similar to past lessons, for the quiz, there would be 2 rounds.
请大家别忘记退出，不要退出。
And at the end of this particular segment, please remember to keep yourselves within the portal. Don't leave the website, as there will be the second segment of the quiz later on. And we see that many have Many have joined the quiz segment. And now let's start. Question 1. Establishing an extraordinary and solemn tantric altar can evoke what state of mind among tantric practitioners, which in turn result in them enjoying cultivation? A. Having a mind that is attached to forms. B. Joyfulness. And C. Having an indulgent mind. And everyone has gotten it correct. The answer is B. Joyfulness. Question 2. Please select the correct arrangement on the left and right of the altar. A. Pagoda on the left, sutras on the right. B. Pagoda on the right, sutras on the left. C. Flowers on the right, light on the left.
A.
And the answer is A. Pagoda on the left, sutras on the right. And next, let's look at the ranking board. For the first round or first segment, we have Dharma brother Lao Zong coming in first. Congratulations to him. And now let's look at the Indonesian side. We have Sebastian coming in first. Congratulate him. And over at the English side, we have the Hustler coming in first for this round. Thank you everyone for participating. Please be reminded not to leave the website for the second round later on. And we thank DA Lian for hosting the quiz. Next, we move on to the Feng Shui of Tantric altar. So Living Buddha Lian believes that Feng Shui is crucial in choosing a purified chamber for the Tantric altar. If you casually place the Tantric altar under the beam or lean against a large window or along a pedestrian walkway or face the toilet door, don't talk about how Feng Shui actually works. In fact, your own mind is already being affected by these factors. So Feng Shui of the Tantric altar, we actually started to talk about it previously when we look at having a solid wall as a backing. So all these are actually basic prerequisites that we should pay attention to. So the study of Feng Shui is an intangible study of the environment. So when the purified chamber is converted into a tantric altar, which is also a sacred place of belonging for the deities, the choice of the purified chamber is very important and cannot be neglected. So our Grandmaster has also emphasized the importance of this. So we need to take note of the following points when we change the purified chamber into a tantric altar. First is purified and quietness. Second is able to keep the auspicious energy gathered within it. Thirdly, the direction of the tantric altar aligns with the magnetic direction of the practitioner itself. So later we will share more about this. Fourth, we have the direction of the tantric altar that is against the water current. So this is talking about receiving the water deity. And next we have the wall on which the tantric altar is installed. Is a solid piece of wall with no emptiness above, below, left or right. So we should look at all four directions. So if we don't install properly, there will be a lot of emptiness around. And lastly, we have moderate lighting. And now let's share about this 安神香仙秘法。
仙命法就是它的称呼。
So how can we actually enshrine the deities? So this is actually like a practice in Chinese metaphysics that involves determining the direction of the auspicious energy specific to each person's zodiac sign based on the 8 mentions feng shui system.
就是说你的坐的方向就是要属龙的这个要怎么选呢？ 就是要用罗盘来看。
This 子人安神 is actually referring to the zodiac rat. So it should be facing the Chen mountain in the east and the Shen mountain in the northwest. And Cho is actually the ox. So it would be facing the Si mountain in the south and the Yu mountain in the northeast. And Ying is actually the tiger. We face the Wu mountain in the west and the Shi mountain in the east. And Mao is actually the rabbit, so facing the Wei mountain in the northwest and Hai mountain in the south.
牛人安神就是牛的要安属牛的人要安坛城，你就要跟这个蛇跟这个鸡是合的。那么坐的地方就是要那个地方就是要是山。
So like if you look at if your zodiac sign is actually an ox, you need to mention, you actually need to take note of the snake. Yeah, facing the snake in the south, and also the rooster side, it should be in the northeast.
这个兔子，所以这个你查一查这个师尊讲的安神仙命。
So you can actually look up on this. It is really specific to one zodiac sign.
兔子、龙、蛇。 还有这个马、羊。
So we also have the snake, the horse, the sheep, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. So these are actually the instructions for all the 12 zodiac signs.
所以我又找一些比较更容易让大家明白的。
So by aligning oneself and their living space with these auspicious energy directions, it is believed that it will bring about positive influences, harmony, and tranquility in various aspects of life. Or you can also use a compass to determine.
属老鼠的要在北方安坛城，属牛和虎的要居在东北方。你在用这个指南针，你选这个东北方来安。如果你是
So based on the instructions given on the direction, the auspicious energy direction for each zodiac sign, you can use the compass to determine which direction to follow. So if your zodiac sign is the rat, you need to look at the east and also the northwest.
这个是比较容易的，用指南针就可以把你自己的跟你适合的位找出来，方位找出来这个再讲一遍大家可以记录一下。属老鼠的，你的
So for the zodiac sign, the red facing the Chen Mountain in the east and the Shen Mountain in the northwest.
龙与蛇位居东南方，马位属马的居南方，属羊与猴居于西南方大家应该明白了，不明白也是没办法，我就是找这个方位比较容易知道。这些要点如能全部具备，那是最好。
So if all these key points can be fulfilled, that would be the best. If not, it is not necessary for a feng shui master. If not, it is actually necessary for a feng shui master to personally come and guide and correct.
上师来帮你看一看指点一下比较好没听到鸡没有鸡吗？鸡呢
Someone commented whether there's a rooster. So for rooster, the zodiac sign so facing Chou Mountain in the northwest and the Si Mountain in the south.
密谈风水是一门很大的学问密谈
So feng shui of the Tantric altars is a great knowledge on its own. The Tantric altar needs to be extraordinary and solemn, while the Tantric chamber needs to be pure and gentle. So as we cultivate the practice of offering the triple jewels above us and saving all sentient beings below us, our blessings and wisdom have increased, and true Buddha practitioners have attained a big spiritual achievement. So this is the unification of the Buddha altar and human beings, and this is the unification of heaven, earth, and human beings.
哪一边比较高？比如说你向外面看，就是向着马路看，比如说你的左手比较高，那么你的坛城呢就要在右手边，就是你的坛城向着那个流水，就是我们讲的节水节水神就是劫财的意思了。他的意思，如果是你站在门口向马路看，那么如果是右手边是高的话呢，你的坛城应该在左手边来接这个水。那么如果你不知道的话呢，可以看看外面你的水沟，它的流水方向是从哪里流。
So you can, when we look at the water current, one key point would be to observe any drainage that is outside your house. So it should be going against the water. The altar should be positioned in a way such that it is receiving the water current itself, which is to receive like the water deity. Hence, it should be against the water direction of the water current. 即是天地人三者合一莲生活佛已把坛城金色的风水说得非常清晰明白。And living Buddha Lian has actually explained, made the whole feng shui of the purified chamber with the altar very clear and understandable. But if you still don't understand, you can ignore whether the direction of the water current aligns with the practitioner's magnetic direction. The room just have to be purified and quiet, and the wall that the altar is leaning against needs to be solid. So because our grandmaster also acknowledges that cultivation is key to the practitioner. And if you still don't understand, it is advisable to seek advice from Dharma propagators within a True Buddha school who know Feng Shui to investigate further. As setting up a tantric altar is a lifelong task, it's not a year or two. It's still necessary for those who understand Feng Shui geography to take a look. Yep, so you should actually set up one that would align with your magnetic direction. Next is on the consecration of the tantric altar. After setting up the altar for the first time, one can invite true Buddha school Dharma propagators such as masters or reverends to conduct the consecration ceremony, which is the 开光仪式. One can also write a letter to Root Guru Living Buddha Lian, attach a photo of the altar, and then request for Living Buddha Lian to bless and consecrate the altar. And an altar that has received the Root Guru blessings will be auspicious, and all undertakings resulting in successful accomplishments. So how to request our root lineage guru to bestow light and also to give blessings for the altar. So if one is only requesting root guru lineage, root guru living Buddha Lian to perform the consecration and purification of the altar, they can also recite the root guru mantra 108 times. Naturally, as Dakinis descend from the void, they will form mudras to help purify the Dharma realm and the altar and bless all the undertakings will be perfect and complete, while all evil and calamity will be dispersed. And the altar itself will be spiritually connected, and the person who set up the altar will receive auspicious aid as well from heavenly beings. And after the consecration, one needs to do a boundary protection for the altar. That is to define the boundary of the altar such that all that is sacred and holy may enter and all evil cannot enter. So how do we perform this boundary protection? So true Buddha practitioners can use the great compassionate Dharani water to perform the purification and boundary protection. And daily practice of the armor protection, which is the 披甲护身, is the best method of boundary protection. One can also use other boundary protection practices that have been transmitted by the root guru if they have received the necessary empowerments. So if you want to do the 四重结界, you actually need to receive empowerment in order to do so. And moving on to the next section, the altar is meant to be an assembly of the sacred, a place of refuge for the divine. So the general public non-believers, those who do not have the right understanding, we should avoid allowing them to freely access the altar itself. This is to not allow them to commit any form of sin or contempt and ignorance. So hence, after performing the boundary protection of the altar, other people are basically not allowed to enter for worship or viewing purposes.
所以坛城结界之后，基本上不允许其他人入内参拜或参观。坛城可以请自己的根本上师
But one can invite one's root guru to enter the altar and provide guidance. And fellow disciples can also enter for their cultivation. There is no harm on this front.
或者有时同门一起同修的同门也是可以。
So we have
上师法师弘法人员都是。
If we have any Dharma brothers or sisters who like to cultivate together, there's no issue to allow them to allow them to enter the altar for cultivation. Whether next section is whether we can invite other disciples to enter the altar to view and also to view the altar. So sometimes to respond to the wishes of the sentient beings, it is permissible to present the solemnity and splendor of the altar by allowing people to enter for worship or viewing purposes. However, before entering, it is necessary to explain to them the etiquette and any customs that they would need to observe. So this is a way to respond to such opportunities and also welcome faithful devotees.
这是因机之法，普门示现，结引众生所以不是也是刚才我所说的要看这个是有佛缘的。
So we also need to see if there's any form of affinity with the Buddha Dharma. And can even if there's any form of affinity to get them to join the true Buddha school, and then this would be an opportunity to do so. And if one has an altar that others can access leisurely, it is sufficient to perform cleansing and boundary protection regularly. Next section on unable to set up a tantric altar. Living Buddha Lian believes it is advisable to do our best to set up an altar within our abilities. However, if a true Buddha's disciple does not have the financial means to set up a purified chamber or has other difficulties such as opposition faced from family members and is unable to set up an altar, then there is no need to force them to do so.
这个是师尊给予弟子的一种方便。如果真的不能够设立坛城或者
So in this way, one can visualize setting up the altar in the void instead so that they can cultivate anytime and anywhere.
那有很多同门呢，就在修法的时候就拿出师尊的法香或者本尊护法用法香来修法。修完法之后
So some disciples can
收回去放好在柜子里。其实这个也是一种方便。那么也是可以
Some disciples they can other than visualizing, they also set up an altar that can be easily kept. So be it using pictures which can be kept easily. If not, you can one can visualize setting up the altar in the void instead. So firstly, one would recite the mantra for purifying the Dharma realm, which is Om Namo Soha 7 times. And then we visualize one's surroundings becoming purified, vacant, and bright. And then one's bed transforms into a lotus and the practitioner's principal deity or root guru appears in the void. after all this have been done, one can then proceed with the cultivation itself. You can also add on the 100-syllable mantra to purify the surrounding. This can be done as well. So if a practitioner is outside, how can we do visualization and go about doing our daily cultivation practice? So if one is out traveling on a boat or airplane, one can visualize the tantric altar in the void. All mudras, mantras, offerings, and paying of homages are done via visualization. So if you actually cultivate in the car or on the airplane, you can visualize firstly the altar and then all the offerings, and whether you actually perform the mudras, you can actually use visualization to do so. In the tantric practices taught by Living Buddha Lian, they are universal and can be practiced by anyone, regardless of their financial background, physical disability, or social status. This is the first meaning of total enlightenment, which is all sentient beings are equal, which is what Master Lian has previously shared. He was previously talking about how Tantrana is wealthy, the Zen Buddhism is poverty, and conveniency is pure land practice. So how Grandmaster has been sharing a lot of the Tantrana practices with everyone. This is really having all sentient beings in mind and seeing all beings as equal. And next, we'll move on to the second round of the quiz segment. The quiz will be starting shortly.
可以开始了。
可以了。好。小程序3。
Question 3. Please select the incorrect method to transform a purified chamber into a tantric altar. A. Moderate lighting. B. Direction of the altar follows the water current. C. Able to keep the auspicious energy gathered within it.
答案是 B
And the answer is B, which is incorrect. Question 4. For a tantric altar established in the void, what should one recite 7 times before the cultivation practice? So which mantra should be recited? A. The offering mantra. B. Purification mantra. C. Mantra for purifying the Dharma realm. And the answer is C. Mantra for purifying the Dharma realm. So true words, which is 真言, actually means mantra. And now let's look at the ranking board. Based on the second round, after the second round, over at the Chinese language channel, we have one of our counselors.
志荣助教。
D.A. 志荣。And over at the Indonesian language channel, we have Ethan coming in first. And over at the English channel, we have Herman Tony coming in first. Big congratulations to everyone, and we thank everyone for your participation. And we'll hand the time back to Master Lian Yi for today's class. And we move on to the summary. So due to the emphasis on visualization given the secrecy, true Buddha Tantric Dharma pays great attention to the layout of the altar. Hence, it is very important to establish or visualize an altar. So the practice of Zen does not necessarily place emphasis on the altar. The practitioners can practice meditation by walking, staying, sitting, and just lying down. So they don't have a specific location. So those who sit by mountains, forests, fields, and ponds can also practice meditation. So there's this story on the burning of the wooden Buddha by Master Tan Xiang. So it was he actually encountered a severely cold day, and he took a wooden Buddha and he burned it for warmth. The abbot of the temple reprimanded him for his actions, and Tan Xiang actually replied, "I'm burning the relics." And the abbot said that it's very disrespectful. But actually, for all these Zen practitioners, they have already looked beyond all these forms. So actually, not anyone can do this. It needs to be someone who is fully enlightened and really see the non-emptiness of the phenomena. And Tan Xiang actually said that I am burning the relics. So like so a Buddha statue is actually just a symbol. It's a concrete representation for sentient beings to relate to. So we are taking for in Tantrana Buddhism, we are also using these statues to actually fully cultivate our mind. And so those with the abilities to do so should establish an altar. Those without ability to do so can visualize the altar instead. And before we end today's lesson, we have a story to share with everyone. So we have an Asian Weekly journalist who interviewed Li Ka-shing, which is a wealthy man in Hong Kong. He asked, like, who is the poorest person? And Li Ka-shing actually replied, the purest person is someone who faces setbacks, blames others, and also blames the heavens and gives up on themselves. So he thinks that this kind of people would actually be the poorest ones. But those who are successful, what they think is actually the opposite. So there's this saying that so with principles, with a certain kind of mindset, with certain kind of wisdom, one can go anywhere. But without ethics, even an inch is unable to travel.
遇到不好的时候呢
You can't even travel an inch.
去面对你的逆境呢？所以往往成功的人呢，他是有法
So
行走天下。
typically, for those who are successful, with the wisdom that they have, one can go everywhere, anywhere. So for Li Ka-shing, he really say that the purest people are those who are unable to face their setbacks with a right mindset. So we also have a former richest man in Taiwan, which is Wang Yongqing. So how did he actually start his business? So in 1932, at the age of 16, he actually took 200 yuan and he rented a small shop in a remote alley in Jiayi to open a rice store. So with a small space, so there was a lack of business as a result. So based on these circumstances, how did he actually changed the situation and turn it around? So he came up with certain solutions. So the first one is after closing the shop every day, he would remove impurities and sand from the rice before selling it. So because of that, the rice doesn't have any form of impurities. So those who bought it would actually feedback like, oh, the rice that they bought is actually different. Second part, he actually noticed that the customers had difficulties carrying the rice. So he actually thought of a door-to-door delivery service. And thirdly, when he reached the customer's house, he would pour out the old rice and replace it with fresh rice. So the fourth point is, after doing all these things, he also kept a notebook and he noted down and he recorded the number of people in each customer's household when they needed rice, and then when they would finish using it, and he will proactively deliver the rice to their doorstep. So based on these 4 points, he was able to accumulate more capital, and then he rented a larger shop front. And he sold rice in the front and set up like a rice milling factory at the back. And his business gradually grew. And with this thinking that he has and his personality and how he is as a person in terms of his character, he became more and more successful. So this positive energy is really important. So when we face any matters along the way, actually everyone is equal. So we're sure that everyone will face certain unpleasant matters in life. So the key part is how can we overcome them. And in the process, even when we help others, how would this actually help to cultivate ourselves? So if you often like to complain, rant, or blame others, and give up on yourself, this previously we know like Li Ka-shing actually would think that this is actually a poorest person.
这个就是我们人很重要的一个观念。你对自己的家人，我说。
So another important principle is not to forget our roots.
你对父母孝顺更好，这个树的根好呢，那么枝枝叶叶自然会茂盛。所以
So equivalent to how we need to be filial to our parents. When the roots are solid and good, the leaves that grow out of the roots would resultantly be good as well. So we should use the wisdom that we learn as part of Buddha Dharma to actually overcome a lot of the obstacles that we face in life, and not be too affected, and not to be affected by any unpleasant obstacles along the way, any setbacks we will be able to overcome. And thank you everyone. Amitabha. Amitabha, we thank Master Lian Yi for delivering today's class. Yeah, so indeed, true Buddha Tantric Dharma is actually equal. Today we talked about how we can visualize an author, whether we are on a boat or a car or an airplane. We be able to visualize the altar as well as the deities and also the offerings. And we like to thank Master Lian Yi for sharing various stories, such as on Wang Yongqing.
请问上师，我们不知道自己的主尊就可以师尊为主尊，可以吗？
So question one is if we don't know our own principal deity, can we have Grandmaster as the principal deity? And so the answer is yes, because our Grandmaster is actually represents the Buddha, the Dharma, and also the enlightened beings.
你就太划算了一箭双雕，我最记得他所说的莲夯三师就是说两个都可以啊。第二题
And question 2. So Grandmaster has mentioned that the conch shell, whether it should be turning to the left or whether it should be clockwise or anti-clockwise. So Master Lian Yi actually said that it should be clockwise direction in terms of placement. Question 3. So this is on. This is the 先命法 again for the zodiac sign of the rat.
对，它属老鼠呢，它的坐向应该属龙，龙跟那个猴子。那属龙跟猴子呢
？If we are looking at the rat, it should be the dragon as well as the monkey.
老鼠是对的， 关于这个属猪啊，属猪呢，它
So
的
if it's the pig,
它三合就是兔子跟这个羊。
so it should be the
兔子的方
rabbit
位呢
as well as
等一下啊
the sheep. So facing
兔子
the rabbit in the west
它应该是
and
东方，兔子的位置是
the
坐
sheep
东向西
in the
兔子是
northwest.
正东方。还有这个位就是羊嘛，羊是西南方，你找坐东向西的那个位置，就是坐在那个坛城面向着西方。还有一个是西南方，西南方的对面就是东北方嘛。你用这个指南针
So
就
you
可以
can actually use the compass to determine the right direction based on your zodiac signs.
属鸡的
Okay,
你的
so for those whose zodiac sign is a rooster,
蛇嘛，
we should be looking at the ox as well as the snake. So
现在不是
facing the ox in the northwest and snake mountain in the south.
属鸡的真西方，它丑它是东北方东北方对面就是西南方，你坐东北方向西南方。还有一个蛇就是东南方，你坐东南方向着西北方。这个属鸡的。
是。
好，
非常感恩莲玉上师，非常精彩的授课。接下来第5个问题，请问家庭工人能不能在密
There's
谈？
a next question. Whether any domestic helpers, whether they can enter the tantric altar to do any form of cleaning, like mopping or just sweeping. So it is permissible, but we need to let the domestic helpers know not to touch anything that is on the altar itself. Read like the Dharma instruments that are on the altar itself. And we have the 6th question.
行法时，先观想法轮，颂赞诸天神，将复法轮。我今其转千变轮，心如法来现密意，一如真光分明。于是法轮旋转，空中现出一行者，共计有1000人之众。这1000人就是自己分身的变化，全由千转轮法中变化出来的，布满整个虚空。于是观想虚空中的行者全部合掌
This
念。
is actually a question on the 千转轮法, which is studying the 1000 Dharma view.
再念第2句，念完再拜佛，念10句，拜10回，此咒等于10000遍了。上述的这个真言咒，念完拜一拜佛，例如每持莲花童子心咒。
So there's this part where it says that for every mantra recited, you need to actually we should actually bow to the Buddha. So
但是如果话又讲回头，如果有时间的话呢，我觉得还是比较实在的自己做这个功课，就是不要这个千准轮法念一句就等于千句这样子
谢谢。
我的意思是这样
So Master Lian is actually explaining that we should actually do our homework. We should actually continue to clock the required number of mantras.
这就是法界三昧地，像自身顶上有一个梵字烂，此字片有光明如满月，后化为三角形，上有红色的火，使三角形火烧自己的身心。蓝字要如何书写？需要观想什么颜色？放什么颜色的光？恭请上师回答，谢谢。
这个是好像师尊在书上有写过哈。那我觉得还是或者下个星期再回答好吗？因为我真的不记得
second question
那些光那些咒语。
Our Grandmaster has actually explained in his book as well, but we will Master Lin Yi will actually address this in the next lesson.
感谢教育处处长联合上师以及公关处处长连家上师。
And now let's thank our lecturer Master Lian Yi, Honorable Chairman Master Chen Zhu, Education Director Master Lian He, our PR Director Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, all Dharma propagators, our interpreters, our counselors, and all Padma Kumaras. Thank you everyone for joining us to thank everyone here today, Amitabha. And for those questions that we haven't answered today, we'll take the time next lesson to answer them all. And now let's have Master Lian Yi to say goodbye to everyone. Now let's thank Guru Unish Guru Living Buddha Lian Sheng for bestowing light and for blessing today's class, for allowing it to be complete and smooth in general. We thank our Honorable Chairman Master Chen Zhu, our Education Director Master Lian Ha, PR Director Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, all Masters, Senior Reverends, Dharma Instructors, Dharma Assistants, our MC, our interpreters, and all disciples. Thank you everyone for joining today's class. And hope that everyone has grown along the way. And thank Master Lian Yi.
所有的问题还没有解说的各位莲花童子们说抱歉，我们今天时间已经到了。
Apologies to those who have actually submitted the questions. Due to the lack of time today, we'll only be able to answer them next week.
记得打卡，记得缴交作业哦。感谢大家，拜拜。谢谢联合上师，
everyone。
谢谢大家，阿弥陀佛，感恩。
给所有的翻译人员，感谢大家的授课，上课。
谢谢联合上师，谢谢。
拜拜。
拜拜。
大家再见。
拜拜。
谢谢于飞讲师，
感恩大家，
谢谢大家，
谢谢连一上师上课，谢谢大家，阿弥陀佛，
拜拜。